was sitting on the porch outside my house, rocking gently in the old wooden chair. The night was still, the kind of stillness that felt almost deliberate, like the world was holding its breath. Crickets chirped in the tall grass, and the only light came from the yellow glow of the porch lamp flickering behind me. I remember thinking how quiet everything was, until it wasn't. A scream split through the night like a knife through fabric. It wasn't just any scream. It was high-pitched, desperate, and raw. It came from the house next door. My heart stopped. That voice, I knew that voice. It was Anna, my friend. I shot out of the chair before my brain even caught up. Feet pounding the porch steps, I sprinted across the patchy grass to check on her. As I neared the neighbor's yard, I realized something strange. The house was dark. Not just dark because the lights were off, but unnaturally so. Even the streetlights seemed dimmer here, as if the house was swallowing the light around it. I pushed the front gate open. It let out a shrill, metallic squeal that made my skin crawl. I told myself it was nothing, just old hinges. But the scream echoed again, softer now. Like it came from deep inside the house. I rushed up the front steps, my chest heaving. The door was slightly ajar. That wasn't normal. Anna was careful, paranoid even. She never left her door open. I called out her name. Anna. Silence. I stepped inside. The air changed immediately, cold, stale. Like a basement that hadn't been opened in years. The back door was open, swinging slightly in the wind. Then I saw muddy footprints led from the door toward the basement stairs. The prints were bare feet, but they weren't just one set. There were two. One small, one enormous. I swallowed hard, forcing my feet to move. The basement door creaked as I opened it. The staircase plunged into darkness. Then the smell grew stronger, coppery, like old coins and iron. Halfway down the stairs, I heard breathing. Not normal breathing. Heavy, ragged, and wet breathing. Then my flashlight flickered and died. I froze. From the bottom of the stairs, a voice whispered my name. Not Anna's voice. Something else. Something that sounded like her voice stretched and twisted. Come help me, it croaked. Then I heard Anna scream again. From somewhere deeper below. I didn't know what was waiting in that basement. But as I took another step down, the door at the top slammed shut behind me, and the breathing got closer. The door thudded shut behind me, plunging everything into black. I spun around, heart slamming in my chest. I reached for the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge. It was locked. Oh my gosh. The only sound was the wet, ragged breathing echoing from below. It was closer now. Like what the heck? I backed up slowly, pressing my hand to the wall to steady myself. The air was so cold it burned my lungs, and the darkness felt alive, like it was watching me. Then I heard a scraping sound. Something was dragging along the basement floor. Nails, claws, metal, I couldn't tell. The sound was slow, deliberate. It wasn't hiding. It wanted me to hear it. Anna, I tried again, my voice barely a whisper. Where are you? For a moment, silence. Then, from the darkness ahead, her voice answered. Down here. But it didn't sound right. Her voice was cracked, like it had been forced through a throat that wasn't made to speak anymore. I turned on my phone's flashlight again. I pointed it down the stairs. There were muddy footprints all over the steps, smeared and irregular, like someone had been dragged. At the bottom, the beam of light landed on a set of wooden double doors. The doors had strange symbols carved into them, jagged, almost tribal, and I can't even recognize the language that was written there. Dried handprints stained the wood. Small ones. Those were children's hands. But how come there were children's hands in there? Anna doesn't even have kids. Then, something thumped against the doors from the other side. I jumped back. The flashlight wavered. I should have run. Any sane person would have. But something about Anna's voice, even warped, kept me there, kept me hoping she was alive. I stepped off the last stair and finally reached the door. I opened it, and beyond it was only more darkness. But this time it felt deeper, thicker, like it had weight. My flashlight flickered again, then steadied, just enough to show me what was inside. The room was large, circular, with a dirt floor and walls lined with shelves filled with bones. Not old dusty bones, those were fresh ones, and it's red and wet. Then there were chains hung from the ceiling. Some of them still had pieces of clothing tangled in them. There's a shoe and a torn hoodie, and a thing looked like a child's backpack. Then in the center of the room was Anna. She was on her knees, facing the wall, and her hair was matted to her face. Her arms hung limp at her sides. I rushed to her. "Hey, Anna, are you okay?" My feet splashing through something I refused to look at. "Anna!" I dropped to my knees, grabbing her shoulders. "What happened? We have to go now." She didn't respond. Then she slowly lifted her head and turned around. Her eyes were gone. Not gouged, just missing. Black, gaping sockets stared at me. And her mouth opened impossibly wide. Wider than it should, wider than anything human. Something inside her was moving, twitching, like fingers pushing out from the inside. "I told you," she gurgled, voice distorting. "Don't come down here." Then something burst out of her mouth, long, gray, spider-like limbs, wet and twitching. I screamed and stumbled back, but the floor gave out beneath me. I fell. Fell through dirt, through rot, through a hole that hadn't been there a second ago. And I landed in another room. No light, no air. Just walls that felt alive with things crawling beneath them. Whispers filled the space, dozens, hundreds, all speaking in that same voice, stretched, warped, wrong. They said my name, over and over. And somewhere, above me, I heard the basement door creak open again. And I heard footsteps. "Hello, do you hear me? Help me, please."